Physical objects such as natural items or fine art pieces are often placed behind glass cases to protect them from dust and damage. Most of these exhibits are not interactive, hence the level of information that can be displayed is usually limited to small physical notes. The few interactions in this context are often based on touch input on a separated display, which detracts the user from the exhibit artifact. In this paper, we explore whether the glass case could be used as an input surface to point and select distant physical objects. The most standard technique to select objects in space is raycasting. But there are different ways to cast a ray. We first ran a study in a public space to understand the user's spontaneous way of pointing at an object behind a glass. We clustered the results according to 3 ways to cast a ray. 1. Unoriented raycasting. 2. An eye-finger raycasting. And 3. Unorthogonal raycasting. 75% of the participants that used raycasting adopted an orthogonal ray as the most walk-up-and-use technique in a public context. Next, we conducted a controlled study to evaluate the pointing performance of orthogonal raycasting. The goal of this study is to investigate the impact of the target size, the target distance to the glass, the presence of spatial reference, and the position of the user's head, on pointing an object through the glass with an orthogonal raycasting. The targets were sphere from 1 to 4 centimeters. The targets were positioned on a cardboard at 3 distances to the glass. The targets were aligned on 2 horizontal lines, with and without spatial reference. Finally, the user could be sitting or standing up, with his head in the front, or above the targets. The task consisted in pointing physical targets with an orthogonal ray cast from an infrared panel. Users had to touch the glass at the expected position of the target and adjust its pointing if needed. "12 participants from our university performed 720 tasks according to each factor. We recorded the completion time, the success rate, the spread and the offset of land and pointing." Orthogonal raycasting allows to easily select targets as small as 3 centimeters up to 35 centimeters away from the glass. 1 centimeter targets are very difficult to select. Placing the targets near a spatial reference reduces pointing spread and favors pointing performance. Surprisingly, the user's position has limited impact on pointing performance.